Okay, the equation given here, x minus 3 times 6x minus 5 equals 0, has two solutions. One is an integer, and the other is a fraction. So, and it wants us to find these two solutions. So how do I go about doing that? What am I going to do? Well, basically, when you have the two, let me bring it down here. When you have the two parentheses, x minus 3 and 6x minus 5 like that, notice the parentheses mean that they're multiplied together, right? So think with me for a second. What if I said, hey guys and gals, I'm thinking of two numbers. I'll just say first number times second number. I'm thinking of two numbers, and I'm not telling you what my numbers are yet. We're playing, guess my numbers. I'm multiplying the two numbers together, and together when they multiply, they equal 0. How can you multiply two numbers together and have the answer come out 0? What do you know about one of the numbers? There's only one way two numbers can times each other and come out to have an answer of 0. What does one of the numbers have to be? What's that? Yeah, one of the numbers has to be 0, huh? Like the first one could be 0 because 0 times anything, right? 0 times anything, like 7 or 8, 9, whatever, is going to equal 0. Or the second one could be 0 because anything times 0 would be 0, huh? The first one or the second one has to be 0, right? That's the only way two numbers can multiply to equal 0. So what does that mean about our equation? Well, that means the first parenthesis is actually equal to 0, or the second parenthesis is equal to 0. Does that make sense? Because that's what this has, right? This has two things timesing, parentheses mean multiply, you know that, to equal 0. So that means the first one is 0 or the second one is 0. And then from there, we just solve for x in both things. So I'm going to add 3 to both. And so x is positive 3, 4. And then in the other one, I'm going to add 5 to both sides. That's gone, and we get x equals 5. And last step is to divide by 6. And there we go. So we've got two answers, 3 and 5/6. So the integer solution, which means the whole number, is 3. The fraction is 5/6. Those are both answers to the original. Those are both solutions to the original equation. By the way, you can see the 3 is right? If you go back to the original equation and you plug in x for 3. Now, I know you might think, no, Mr. Aaron, you got to plug in 3 in one of them and 5/6 in the other. No, that actually x can only be one thing at a time. It can be 3 in both places, everywhere, or it could be 5/6, everywhere. But it's only one at a time. So, right, because x can only be one number at a time. So if x is 3, what is 3 minus 3? Well, 0. And what is the other one? I don't know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And what is 0 times blah, blah, blah? It does equal 0, doesn't it? See how the answer 3 does make this equation come out equal to 0? Does work, because when you plug in x to be 3, it makes the first parenthesis 0. And then it doesn't matter what the second parenthesis is, because 0 times anything is going to be 0, isn't it? So, and now would the 5/6 work as well? It would. I mean, you want me to show? I can show it real quick. It's a little messier to see. You plug in 5/6 for the x, 5/6. It's the second right here. The 6/1 cross cancels, and you get 5 minus 5, which is 0. It makes the second parenthesis 0, and therefore we don't care what the first parenthesis is. Anything times 0 will equal 0. So the 5/6 also makes the equation equal to 0 because it makes the second parenthesis 0. So my point is, these really are the right two answers because they are the ones that make the equation, this equation, equal 0. Make it true. Make it equal 0. 3 makes the first parenthesis 0, and 5/6 makes the second parenthesis 0, and then they multiply to equal 0. So there's our two answers. There we go.